I just turned down the opportunity of becoming the CEO of a company doing over $1 million a year, and I would instantly be making over 6 figures a year income and profit sharing for anything I can do for the business. First, let me explain the scene. So I was talking to this guy who is incredibly wealthy, who he owns over 75 businesses that are doing over $1 million a year. What he does is he acquires the businesses in his niche that he understands a lot about and sees a gaping hole in what that business was doing and how he can start to increase the profits drastically. And then he'll hire someone is fit for the job and put them in one of these spots, pay them very well, and then profit share. And then the businesses have been growing very, very successfully. And he's done this quite literally 75 times. So he said, hey, Josh, I actually want you to be put in one of these positions. I think that you would do great. Here's my idea. Here's what you should do. And instantly I turned him down with zero hesitation. And before you call me crazy, let me explain myself. When I started everything that I was doing about 3 years ago, I made absolutely no money for a full year. I was making about $4,000 a month for another year. And then for about 6 months, I was making about $10,000. And now I see my opportunity from going to 10 to 50 and maybe even $100,000 incredibly high. Let me explain to you how I got here. So first, as I just explained, the growth is so incredibly unlinear. You don't just have very stable growth in a business. I've never seen anything like that in my personal life for anything that I've ever done, but you'll just have these gaps where you're doing something and then you'll figure out a new skill set, and then your base level of income just jumps up, and then you kind of maintain that unless you scale that big time, or until you find a new skill set and then you jump up again. And that's what happened. I had no skill set, figured one out. I maintained that until I learned a new skill set, and then that jumped me up again. And now what I think I just developed, and I have an incredible idea for a new way to expand the business that I currently have, to not go from $4,000 a month to $10,000 a month, but I think from $10,000 to $50,000 a month incredibly quickly. And I think much beyond that. So it was because I see that I'm at the precipice of the exponential jerk in my business that it was super easy for me to turn down this offer. And I've noticed the more I've grown my businesses, the more of these offers that I get that are incredibly enticing, that you really, really should consider, because they are great opportunities. But if you stay on your course, you have to turn them down. Why? If I took over this company, I know very little about what he's actually talking about. It is much more in the tech space, and I don't understand too much about tech. So what would I have to do? I would have to spend the next 6 to 12 months just learning everything I can about that business, just to have the slightest bit of an edge on how I can increase the revenue on what they're currently doing. So I'd have to scratch my skill set and learn something completely new. And with that new skill set, that's going to take a lot of time to develop. And how do you make a lot of money? Staying in the same space for a long time and compounding it, as long as it's something that you can scale infinitely. And what I'm currently doing, I can scale it to a astronomical amount. What else has been happening a lot, because I built a reputation in my niche for now, a lot of people actually want to work with me. I'm getting a lot of offers from people for me to come into their business and do a lot with them. And I have to turn it down. There's too many of these people that don't fit the kind of narrative that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a very specific client that I know I can provide a ton of value for. And once I provide that value, I get compensated accordingly. And I just got 2 more of those clients. If you recall my other video over here, when I talked about my exact plan to go from $10,000 to $50,000 a month, I actually got that client that I was talking about in that video, and I'm going to start working with him in mid-September. And because I think I can provide so much value for him, I think I'll make way more money than if I took on that position as that CEO. And then what else did I just learned so many new skill sets that can take my business from per client doing a few $1,000s a month from my per client doing $100,000 a month, because I've learned so many new things in the past few weeks that can really take everything to a new level. I mean, and that is understated. And I'm super excited for everything going on. But the moral of the story is, the more successful you become, the more opportunities that you get that you're going to have to turn down. And for a long time, I just said yes to everything. And that's how I'm in the position I am today. But now that I've established a certain amount of credentials and what I'm currently doing, I have to turn down most opportunities that I get. And that's a very new shift in thinking that I have to go through. I heard a lot of people talking about that in the past, but I was not in a position to ever say no. I always had to say yes. And I would go anywhere just to try and get a new client. So because I've been in this for almost 3 years now, it is becoming much more easy for me to turn down these huge huge opportunities when they come because I can finally see the exponential curve. In high school, matter of fact, when I was a junior in high school, I was making more money then than I am now. And why? I was running a business that was incredibly successful, but then I stopped that and I started something new. And guess what? It took 3 years of me on this new thing, and I'm still not making as much money I was in high school from a business. So if I want to start a new business and scratch what I'm currently doing, I mean, it's going to take at least 3 years to take that off the ground and get it running, even though I have a few more skill sets now. That's just how the world works. And you don't get good at something instantly. It takes so much time. So I think I've finally learned how to say no. And I actually just turned down over $1 million business very, very easily. If you want to see my plan from when I talked about going to $10,000 to $50,000 a month, and this is kind of an update to that because I have my plan exactly. And then I've layered on so many other subcategories to that plan to go from 50 to maybe $100,000. You have to check it out over here.